In this video, you're gonna discover, learn, and master the key chess principles that are gonna bring your chess into a completely new level. What's up, chess player? Your favorite type of videos you can get inside of my head and go through the game together with me, taking those decisions like what to do, when to do, and how to do it. I'm gonna explain you everything throughout the process. I'm gonna get a very strong opponent today, Stockfish, 2700 rated player, and he's gonna have white pieces, so that's gonna be a fantastic challenge for me, but exactly what I need to prepare for my tournament. So let's just get started. Let's see if he's gonna play e4 or d4. Normally, wow, e3. That's completely unexpected. I mean, that means we are not gonna have any opening here whatsoever. But I still want to have like the first thing, the first task for the opponent, no matter what your opponent is doing, is to get a familiar position so that you know what to do. So I'm gonna just play d6. That is what I know best, the, well, let's say Philidor type of structure in the position. So I don't really care, and that is the beauty of this d6 setup, that you don't care at all what your opponent are doing. You're just doing the same thing every time, but you always get this rich position, it never gets boring, and if you know the ideas behind those moves, like the concrete moves don't really matter. What matters is whether you understand the key principles and the key ideas. And otherwise, you just don't care what's happening. Okay, I'm gonna just play knight f6, bishop e7, so I have a very good understanding what kind of plan I want to implement. I want to make sure my king is secure. I want to control the center here as much as I can do. Of course, I'm playing as black, so normally white is controlling the center, but he's not that aggressive, at least from the very beginning. So I'm using that fact, and now I'm basically ready for the typical plan of this structure for black. Play c6, play knight e7, and then d5. Also, it feels very normal now that he plays h3 to play a5 just to stop that easy b4 idea for him. And let's see what's gonna happen here. He played h3, so he starts incredibly slowly. I mean, that is fantastic, but he's very strong, so he has something in mind. I'm gonna play c6. I guess he has to castle at some point. Yeah, maybe not now. Yeah, well, he is showing you that you don't need to learn any opening theory at all. If you are strong, if you understand the general chess principles, you can just play whatever you do, and afterwards you are going to outplay your opponent. Because, of course, well, I of course hope for the best, but I understand that my opponent is stronger than me, and he is going to have very good chances to outplay me. I'm a human being, I make my mistakes, but at least I want to help you grow in your chess, and I want to grow my chess myself. So I don't understand why, for example, making the move d5 can be bad for me. I'm gonna get the control of the center. I'm gonna have two active central pawns that cannot be bad for me. So I'm gonna do it. I mean, you don't need to be afraid of your opponent. Yes, you need to respect him. I mean, he's so strong and so on, but you don't need to be afraid because you're playing chess. And if you're afraid, well, you're gonna lose. That is how it works. Psychology is a very important thing in chess. So you just play your best possible game. That's all that is required from you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's really that simple. Okay, now I see the idea of my opponent. He's basically playing the Sicilian, but as white, and that is known as a hedgehog system with those pawns, a3, b3, d3, e6, but normally black has it. And then he wants to place his bishop on b2, where it's going to be very aggressive. So maybe I have to play bishop d6. That would, of course, lose a tempo, but well, I had never a chance to play bishop d6 immediately because there was a pawn on d6. Or alternatively, I of course can play the move e4, but that is a huge commitment for me because I changed the pawn structure and not sure I'm ready for it. I rather want to play bishop d6, then I want to play queen e7 to have a very solid and stable position in the center because, well, having a center is great, but you also kind of are responsible for it, not to lose it, so that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so if I play queen e7, he has knight to b5. Now maybe I regret my decision to play a5. If I would have my pawn on a6, I would be more happy, but you never know. So I'm gonna play queen to e7. Of course, development is the key thing in the opening. I am never too tired to repeat it. It's like always true, no matter how strong you are. Your goal should be to bring all of your pieces into the game, and ideally you should make just one move with one piece. That's exactly what my opponent is doing. Unfortunately, I needed to make a second move with my bishop, but if you do it, always have a very good reason. Okay, but you see how slowly my opponent plays. He's like not in a hurry to go all in into the attack, and that is also something you can learn from him. Okay, I'm actually a little bit worried about those knight to b5 ideas, because if I go back, that was my initial idea, he can play a4 and then bishop a3 is a huge threat. And I'm not a big fan of it at all. To say the least, I'm gonna lose a lot of time with that. Maybe I have some knight c5 plans, right? And then even knight a6, knight b4 if he plays a4. But yeah, the knight is not going to be that stable. Maybe he has knight takes e5 sacrifice. So knight c5, knight b5, bishop b8, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, and queen takes c5. And he's winning a pawn. I hope you can follow that variation. I understand that's very difficult. But I really want to play b6 and develop my bishop and bring my rook to the c file. So the question is whether it works for me tactically. Yeah, that bishop a3 idea is very annoying because I don't really have that much space for my pieces. That is very annoying. Like a5, a6 would be the best move for me, but I cannot do it. There is a very weird idea, rook a6 and rook c6. That's crazy, but it feels like it solves my problem, because when I put my rook on the c6 square, I kind of neutralize this entire activity he has. But that would be so weird, and also my bishop is still not developed. Knight b6 is another opportunity, but yeah, he still has that idea. Although maybe it's not that dangerous anymore. With knight b6 plate. Yeah, let me do it. Let me do it. Because I really need to finish my development. I want to bring my bishop somewhere. At least to d7. Yeah, but he goes for it. At least I can control the c7 square, and I have more space in general, so that's why I wanted to go for it. But what I don't like is that I'm really wasting quite a lot of time, and he's going forward, and I'm going back. That is normally what you should not do. Okay, knight c7 is coming. Where should my bishop go? Bishop d7, knight c7, rook c8, bishop takes e5. He has this very annoying pin, but the question is, can I use it? Knight e8 is my move. That might work for me. That might actually work for me. Okay. Well, bishop f5 is another opportunity, but doesn't create any threats. Although I still want to play rook c8. But like with this structure, if I don't get rid of that of that knight on b5, how do I ever develop my rook on a8? That is my problem. Maybe I play e4, bishop f5 and e4. That feels interesting actually. Then if he takes, then I take. If he plays knight d4, then I take twice on d3. And I get this diagonal. Although the drawback is, of course, I'm gonna have this isolated pawn to deal with. Anyway, bishop f5 is the most active move. Let me do that. Big thank you to the sponsor of this video, the Chestnut company, for providing this Chestnut board, which I use now for all of my trainings and analysis. It's extremely functional and I enjoy doing it so much. It just releases all of the pressure I had earlier thinking about training chess. It's like a huge motivating factor and just a very useful functionality. I have made a complete review about it. Feel free to take a look at it. The link will be in the description. Maybe he can play something like queen c5 now. No, he's actually going back. Okay. That should be a good thing for me, right? On the other hand, like I said, this knight is very strong there. Maybe I play a4, but that Doesn't really help me. Doesn't really help me. Okay, do I play e4? He plays knight d4. I play queen e5, threatening checkmate. What do you do? I mean, g3 I can probably take on h3, although there are annoying... Actually, not that many, because the bishop is hanging there. So why not e4? e4 is the most active move. If he takes, it's like never that bad for me. Doesn't take, then I have those ideas. Yeah, I want to play e4. That's the most active move. That's opening up my bishop. I want to be active, I want to be aggressive. Yeah, and if he plays knight h2, that cannot be that bad for me. Unfortunately, I don't have any way to attack it. Like d6 is covered, e5 is covered. Maybe I can play bishop to g7 now and get rid of that knight, and then play queen to d6. But the problem is, if I need to give up my bishop to get rid of the knight, then after queen d6 he can just play g3 and the pawn on h3 is no longer hanging. Wait, I can also play queen to d7, attacking that bishop, but yeah, probably he's gonna take on e4. My idea was to take on h3, sacrifice, takes, queen takes h3, and then the knight is actually in trouble. That would be interesting variation, but he can just take. Okay, maybe I don't need to be that fast. Maybe I just play rook d8 for now. Why not? Just bring in a new piece into the game. The d file is definitely quite important. Ah, okay, now he wants to play knight f1. Yeah, that's smart, but it's not like it's hugely somehow dangerous. I mean, I'm playing black and it feels like I have quite a lot of initiative. Can I play just bishop e5 here? Because I still feel this lack of space, and if I exchange a pair of pieces, then it's going to be simpler. If he plays d4, I might even take on h2 because the position is suddenly very closed, although he still has that a4 idea. Which indicates maybe I should start with the move a4. But of course, there is a risk this pawn is going to be a weakness for the entire game. But somehow if I play a4, he plays b4, the c4 square is going to be vulnerable. Maybe I can take on d3 and then play knight. Yeah, I actually like it a lot. Let me play it. Maybe he's gonna just take it, but that's still good for me. At least I prevent his plan with a4. Okay, he's gonna go for b4. Now the simplest question I have, why can't I just take on d3? He takes it and I play either knight c4 immediately, but no, my bishop is hanging. Or just take, queen takes, and then knight c4. The bishop is hanging. And my knight on c4 is beautiful. I do have this isolated pawn, but I have so much activity. But his knight coming back to f3 because I no longer have the e4 pawn. That's also not that desirable. Okay, the alternative is bishop e5. Bishop e5. If he exchanges, I guess I'm totally fine with that. If he plays d4, he's so shutting down his bishop on b2. That cannot be bad for me. I really want to activate all of my pieces, and I want to finish my development there, bringing all of the pieces. Bishop to d4. Yeah, that's actually very smart, because my knight is also hanging. But maybe I can still take on d3, because I'm also attacking the bishop, and then I'm bringing my knight to c4. Let's go for that. Maybe I'm blundering some stuff there, though. No, wait, what? Okay, that's unexpected. I mean, I wanted to take on d3 initially. I was calculating that option, so comparing to that, I'm just winning a temple, but for a second I thought I'm just winning the piece if I take on e2 and attack the queen, but apparently his idea is to play queen d4. Then I play knight c4. I attack the bishop again. Bishop takes f6, queen takes f6. I guess this knight is going to be so powerful, like a3 pawn is hanging. How do you even defend it? Yeah, maybe you don't need to take on e2 immediately, you play rook c3 instead. And that would be not clear what's going on, because he's gonna have the d4 square. My light squares bishop, not that great. Wait, but I can also play pawn takes, queen d4, knight to d7. I mean, one of the knights, but then he's gonna have bishop d6, which is also not great. Hmm. That is a very complicated position. Or I just have queen takes e5. I mean, back to the same line, but with an extra tempo, which is also great. I have less than 5 minutes, so I really need to take this decision. But I really feel it's a very important moment in the game. And when you have such a feeling, you should spend your time there. Not too much, but still. Somehow taking on e2 is very tempting. Knight c4, queen takes, queen takes. I really like my knight on c4 so much. But I don't like my bishop on f5. Going to be more or less useless. Very tough decision. After queen takes e5, bishop takes d3, I can just play knight c4 now, right? Because the bishop is protected. So is the knight, the pawn on a3 by the knight, though. But okay, that feels strong. I mean, I'm in the center. Why do I need to settle when I can be as active as possible? Now he has to take. I want just to play knight c4, because if he takes, I take, and then I'm attacking the queen, I have bishop d3. That feels strong. Yeah, what I blundered is knight to f3 with a tempo. That is actually bad. Because my queen is hanging and I need to protect that bishop, and if I play queen to e6, then there is knight d4 forking, so I might just lose the entire bishop. If I play knight b2, I'm also losing a piece. Yeah, that's something I missed. That means I have to take, or I have to play bishop b4. Before, but that feels slow, to be honest. So let me just take it. I was considering this variation before. Now I even have an extra tempo. Although the drawback might be that he's gonna play knight f3 and get this tempo back. Anyway, I achieved my goal. I placed the knight on c4. I don't have this light squares bishop, which might potentially be very vulnerable in such a pawn structure, or pretty useless, let's say. Now I don't see anything against the move queen to e4. I like it actually. Yeah, of course I have this isolated pawn on d5, which is a factor, and the less pieces there are on the board, more of a factor it's going to be. He doesn't want to exchange the queens. Well, maybe it's time to bring the last piece into the game. Yeah, the 8-4 pawn is actually a weakness. But let's hope I'm gonna compensate it with the activity. Knight to c3. I haven't thought about this move, because his pawn is also hanging. I have the move queen to e8. I'm gonna do it because I'm still protecting that pawn. And I'm also just covering the ace rank, just in case. But I feel like the position is getting a little bit out of the control. It's becoming more unpredictable, and the engines are normally much stronger in such a situation. But I still like my position, apart from this pawn, of course. So let me play knight e4. That is the most active move I see. If he takes, probably I have to take with the queen still, because if I take with the pawn, rook takes, pawn takes on f3, I'm destroying his pawn structure, but I'm a pawn down. But I can take with the queen and still be active. I mean, now both of... Oh wait, I blundered the pawn. That's very annoying. That's very annoying. I should have played b5 probably. Although he would play knight d4 and attack the b5 pawn twice. Okay, what do I do now? Do I still have any chances? Rook takes d5, rook takes c4, knight c3 is not a move. Because if it would be a move, that would... Ah, no, he also has rook takes c3 just. Or rook takes c8. Like, never an idea. But I can play b5 now. and say that I have a lot of activity there. Do I have any alternative to that? Knight e5. Knight e5 is also pretty interesting. But b5 is trying to cement once again that queen is still passive. I like it more somehow. But yeah, now my opponent is really a pawn up, and all I have is to try to get some initiative for it. Can I play rook to d3? I might blunder the same thing twice. He's gonna take on b4. No, this time I can take with the queen, and I'm protecting. So that's not a big deal. Otherwise, I really like the move rook to d3. Let me make it. Because I'm attacking that pawn on a3. That's the first question I have. Can't I play rook takes a3? No, I cannot, because he goes like to c2 and protects the knight, so I have to take it. Okay, but I'm still putting pressure. Now rook takes a3 is not a threat, because my rook is unfortunately hanging, and that's why he's playing a4. Yeah. If I would have the move rook takes a3 right now, that would make a huge difference. Okay, now I need to protect that. Maybe I just play queen to b7, because that protects the rook and the pawn simultaneously, and once again I have that threat. And the queen is still pretty active. I hope I'm not blundering anything. We need to. Okay, but now I can take, right? I'm attacking twice, and my rook is hanging, so I really have to do that. But now I have this passer, and the material is equal. I mean, that shouldn't be that bad. I understand he has a huge pawn center here. And my rook is a little bit weird on a3. I mean, if it would be on 8 right now, supporting that pawn from behind, that would be a dream. As is kind of weird. Also, his knight is beautiful on d4. Okay, maybe that's a perfect moment for me to make a luft for my king. I'm just not sure whether I should play h6 or g6. g6 I like because it takes the control of the f5 square, but the dark squares are very weak. But okay. Something is going to be weak, because otherwise knight f5 is always an issue, coming to d6 to e7. Yeah, he's going forward. How do I actually make any progress? Because this this rook on a3 is very annoying, and also I cannot really leave the c file, because knight takes b5 is another idea. Although maybe going into the rook's endgame is not that bad. So maybe rook e8 is my plan here. What do I do otherwise? I don't see absolutely any ideas. Rook e8 takes, queen takes. Maybe I have rook e4. No, that's very suspicious. Queen takes. Yeah, probably hopefully I'm gonna have some compensation. I have absolutely no time to calculate. It's of course very difficult when your opponent plays all of the moves in 5 seconds, and it's always your time ticking. Okay, so rook takes e4, like queen. Wait, I control this the third rank actually. Why can't I play that? I don't know. I don't have any time, but he has check. Okay, he has check rook d8, and maybe it was bad for me. No idea. But now we are going into this endgame. Yes, I have to take, right? And I hoped to play rook b3 in the end of the day. We are gonna have a very instructive endgame now, so don't go away, because rook's endgame is the most difficult part in chess. By the way, I don't have any time, but thank you very much for Chestnut for providing this board for all of these games and analysis I make. That helps me so much. So fascinating to use it, because I have real game experience. So do I play a3? Probably I play a3, right? Because I still control the b5 pawn, and a3 seems like a very strong pawn, so why not? Rook a1. 7 seconds. Let me play rook a8. That's the most active move. Now I'm just threatening to take the pawn. Wait, but now I can take it for free. And I'm getting back into the game. Well, let me do it. Or a2. Maybe I should play a2 because rook b1 is a threat. I'm gonna just lose on time. Yeah, that is a very fascinating position, but it seems like I'm out of trouble now. Takes. Wait, why didn't I play rook b1 exactly? I forgot about it. Ah, feels like rook b1 was winning, wasn't it? Okay, now I don't have any time. Now it's probably a draw if he just exchanges everything. But why didn't I play a2 with an idea to threaten that move? Okay, now it's a draw. Was rook b1 winning? If I would have a little bit more of time, I would, of course, consider it. But somehow I had pressure. Okay, now we have 3 against 3. I'm playing against a strong opponent, but I'm pretty confident in my ability to make a draw here. h5. This is very instructive, even if you have like 3 pawns against 4, like I have, but white has another pawn on e3, let's say. This is f7, g6, and h5. This is the best pawn structure you can achieve. So I'm gonna play the move king to g7, and let's see if my opponent can create any sorts of danger. You need to be patient. You don't need like to go forward and play something like h4 and go all in into the attack. It's all not necessary. You basically just stay there and be solid. The problem is how long this game is gonna be, because we can just shuffle the pieces back and forth, and I have no opportunity to offer a draw. And my opponent also doesn't want to offer me a draw. Otherwise, we need to make 50 moves, and then he makes like 1 move with a pawn because he never makes a draw. No, I don't play rook b2. I don't play rook b2. I play rook a2. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, that's fine. What I like about chestnut board, that you have this opportunity. Okay, now should be easier to reach a draw. That even if you like there is some kind of mouse slip, then you can still make it right. Okay, maybe we can reach some kind of a 3-fold repetition here. If he wants to do that, maybe he doesn't. That would be very annoying. What do you want from me? You're gonna get all of the squares there, but what's the point? Let's make a draw. Can't offer him a draw. Okay, but if he's just gonna do that, then sooner or later it's going to be a draw. Okay. And what I like also about it, that when it's really 3 times repetition, he actually claims a draw automatically, so I don't need to care about that. So far, he doesn't want to repeat that much. No, now it's a draw. Okay, that was a very fascinating game. I enjoyed it so much, and you could have learned so much in the process. One thing I'm very curious about is that moment with the rook b1. So let's take a look at that. A very nice thing with Chestnut Evo board, you are saving all of the games you play. And now I can just hit record here. And I have, that is the previous game I played, I have the game here. Yeah, this is the one. I can hit on analysis. And then let me go back to this point in the game. When I didn't play the move. Yeah, here, played king h2. So here was the position. He played king to h2, and I saw, well, I can just take a pawn for free. Why not? But of course, rook b1 is an interesting move to make here because... Ah, wait, my king is on g8 still. That is very important because some variations it's going to be a check. Yeah, that doesn't really change anything. He can just play b7, attacking my rook with a check. But actually, even without a check, that would be enough. And then I cannot do anything. Even if I play rook a7, the simpler thing is to play b8 check and then rook c2. So yeah, there was no winning for me here. So here you have it. This is how you think throughout the game as a chess professional. But there is one strategic chess principle that you absolutely must understand to be able to play like a really strong player. And in this video, I fully explain it to you as well as how you can use it in your own games.